fuel prices drop. FSLC results out. And re-examining the role of religion. Very good evening. Good news for motorists early in the year. The price of motor spirit and premix will drop from tonight. But if you're one of those taxi drivers with a LPG-powered vehicle, expect to dig a little deeper. This latest price changes reflect the movement in the international markets, as well as fluctuations in exchange rates.
The chairman of the Commerce Commission revealing the new petroleum and liquefied gas prices. While the prices of motor spirit and premix fuel decrease, there is increase in the price of kerosene and diesel. LPG records the highest increase. It's up by 6 and 8%.
Overall, there's an increase by 6 to 8%, and these prices are effective midnight, 15th, as always. So I would say that the detailed examination of the prices movement, etc., and the cooperation between the oil companies with the Commerce Commission, we were able to manage the increases for the general petroleum products, but the LPG was beyond us, and these are all transparent in terms of what is happening in the global market.
According to the Commission, the depreciation of the US dollar against the Fiji dollar had an impact on some of the changes in the fuel prices.
The good news for Fiji is that in the last quarter, the US dollar depreciated against the Fijian dollar. So that's a good news in terms of, meaning in converse way, Fijian dollar appreciated with respect to US dollar. So the value of our dollar was stronger last quarter than the previous quarter with respect to US dollar. The second good news is that freight rates didn't change much in the last quarter. So those two good news.
But the impact of the winter season in Europe also contributed to major increments in LPG prices.
Against the bad news is that given the demand for fossil fuels in throughout the world, as well as the onslaught of winter in the Eurozone, the prices of these two raw material, crude oil and butane, has gone up significantly.
The new prices will come into effect at midnight. Fiji One News.
The body of a 28-year-old man was found floating near the Nandi Back Road Bridge yesterday. According to a report lodged at the Nandi police station, the man had gone swimming with his friends but went missing at around midday. A search was conducted and the man's body found soon after. The post-mortem examination will be conducted soon as investigations continue. That brings the drowning death toll now to 3 compared to 1 for the same period last year. The Fiji School Leaving Certificate results was released to students today. While some students returned home happy after passing the exams, there were others who were not. Abisalome Rambo with the details.
A little anxiety this morning as students collected their FSLC results from the Ministry of Education. With the word out that results had been released, students rushed to the education office. For 18-year-old Sireli Vudungali, a year away spent at boarding school in QVS has finally paid off.
I'm happy with my marks. I'm not yet satisfied. I'm waiting for Mariko.
Last-minute phone calls were also made as demands for proper identification came as a surprise for some students. Others came prepared. For the Ministry of Education staff, dishing out the news to the students was even challenging due to the numbers that kept turning up. Some had already planned ahead, knowing they will have to carry on the hard work they started last year.
I want to thank the Lord for my marks that I received today. I'm really happy and I'm really looking forward to start this year with Form 7.
The results mean a lot to the students who have sacrificed a lot last year to achieve their target, to not only pass, but to do so with flying colors.
First of all, I would like to thank the Lord that I've accomplished my task for 2 years, and I'm really glad that I passed.
Those who are not content with their marks went for a recount, but for now, most will be celebrating their achievements with their families.
Really happy with my mark. I didn't know that I would score this much mark, but I'm really happy. I'm glad. I thank God. I'm really looking forward for Form 7 next year. Really looking to score good marks again next year. So really thanking God again for letting me score this much mark.
About 12,386 students sat for the FSLC examination at 166 centers last year. Apisolome Rambo, Fiji One News.
The increase in prices of liquefied petroleum gas and diesel has prompted government to consider options to ease the burden on consumers. Minister for Trade and Industry Ayasaid Qayyum says that incentives will be provided to companies that set up renewable energy projects here.
The government fully understands the impact of an increase in fuel and petroleum gas to ordinary Fijians. Minister of Industry and Trade Ayasaid Qayyum says that while they have no control over this increase, they have plans to assist the consumers.
We have absolutely no control over it in terms of its pricing, and this is why it is absolutely critical that the government provides the impetus for a greater dependency or sourcing of renewable energy.
Our yearly fuel import bill stand at $1 billion, and the government has given incentives to encourage companies to look at other options.
As you know, the Bainimarama government has been doing so for the past number of years, provided various tax incentives for companies that set up in renewable energy companies, and also right from very small things where villages are giving access to solar power, where we are currently looking at some of the changes in the rules pertaining to the usage of fuels that may have a biodiesel element to it. We also, as you know, are encouraging FEA to get more renewable energy sources. We spend close to $1 billion a year in importing fuel.
For now, customers have been urged to plan wisely in terms of how much they intend to spend on fuel and LPG.
And we obviously need to reduce our dependency on it. So next time when you switch on the light, if you don't need to use it, please switch it off. A very simple message. In that way, you not only reduce your electricity bill, for example, but you also help your country to depend less on foreign imported fuel.
Fiji One News.
The Banua of Nakelo is in mourning following the death of its paramount chief, the late Turanga Tuinakelo Ratumanasa Talakuli. Ratumanasa was married to the late Andi Samanunu the Kambao. The 13 villagers in the Tikina of Nakelo will meet this evening to discuss how they will carry out their traditional roles to show their last respects to their chief. The Rengu Rengu for the Tuinakelo will start tomorrow. He will be laid to rest on Friday. Religious organizations and its leaders have a key role to play in our societies. Prime Minister Commodore Barenge Bainimarama said that religious leaders can help guide and mold societies. He made the comments at celebrations to mark Prophet Muhammad's birthday in Nandi yesterday.
There's much reverence for religion, not only here, but all over the world. The Prime Minister acknowledged that many Fijians consider religion as a unifying force, bridging gaps that exist between races and communities. With Islam and Christian teachings interlinked, he adds it's these values which have allowed us to respect each other's beliefs.
On behalf of every Fijian, I want to pay tribute to the Muslim community in Fiji for its contribution to our national life. I especially thank the Fiji Muslim League for the wonderful educational opportunities the League is providing.
The September elections is common knowledge. Commodore Bainimarama also highlighting the important role religion has to play in this process. But it's not just about the people and their faith. The Prime Minister says government must have a principled stand, it must be fair, and uphold the values of its people.
Fijians are religious people, and our government must depend on people of all faiths to be our moral compass, not to impose their religious practice through law, but to ensure that government's actions respect the guiding principles of all faiths.
Unity is quite crucial if we're to unlock future opportunities following elections in September. Government believes a shared vision can help us achieve that.
An important milestone will be reached later in the year when we hold our general election. As I've said before, the possibilities of our nation are limitless if that election is a success and we can stay focused and unified. So today, we again ask for God's blessing on the noble quest of all Fijians, working together to finally fulfill our promise as a nation to fulfill our destiny.
Prophet Muhammad's birthday is one of a few religious holidays that are celebrated annually. Amelia Vunilemba, Fiji One News.
Ahead in the news, find out what Fiji Kids Learning for Life is all about, and taking stock of the damage caused by Ian. Hello again. A Melanesian spearhead group delegation is currently in Indonesia to observe socio-development works there. The visit is also aimed at forging development cooperation in areas of common interest. The delegation is led by our Foreign Affairs Minister Ratu Inoke Kumbombola. It also includes representatives from the governments of Papua New Guinea, the Solomon Islands and New Caledonia. The visit follows expressions of interest by the West Papua National Coalition for Liberation to be included in the MSG. Vanuatu is the only country that is not represented in the MSG delegation because they are currently considering the application by WPNCL. Singapore's non-resident High Commissioner Verghese Matthews paid a courtesy visit to the Prime Minister, Commodore Barenge Bainimarama, today to convey his country's well wishes. The visit also marks the strengthening of diplomatic ties between Fiji and Singapore. The non-resident High Commissioner will be here till the end of the week. The Singatoka Methodist Primary School should be fully operational in time for the start of the new school year next week. While classes had been initially affected after a major fire last year, school management, together with strong community and business support, have managed to get everything back to normal just in time.
A temporary setup waits Singatoka Methodist students when the first school term starts next week. Construction of temporary classrooms are almost complete. School committee officials says this should be done by the end of the week.
And when we look at all the donations that we receive, it's around about 40,000. With that money, we had a multi-purpose hall which we have converted into 8 classrooms. The classrooms will have fans. Classroom has safety doors and windows, so it's conducive to learning. And we are also going to have 4 tents provided by the military for our temporary classrooms. This is only on temporary basis.
Reverend Ruben also assured parents that all students who enrolled in the school last year will get a post this year. This is despite the students going to other schools following the inferno that claimed their classroom.
Come on Tuesday, class will be normal. Every child will have their own furniture, their own chairs. We have prepared all those things for the children, and we are the last phase of completing our 8 classrooms. The 10th will be also built this week. So we expect that our school classes will be normal, and I would like to request all the parents to bring their children down to school. As you know, it's free education now, thanks to the government, and there's free bus fare. And I hope that all the parents will take advantage of this opportunity.
The school committee is optimistic that investment by way of infrastructure will only benefit the student but the country as a whole.
The best investment a teacher can do is when they can invest in the children. And years to come we'll have a better Fiji because our teachers are investing well in terms of academic excellence, physical excellence and spiritual excellence. So education is the key factor in anyone's life for progress. So I hope that all the stakeholders will hold hands together and continue to the good work that has been done by the people in the past, and we look forward for working together.
Close to 1,000 students attend the Singatoka Methodist Primary School. Ndrewu Kelangi, Fiji One News.
Meanwhile, the Singatoka Methodist College, which is located with the primary school, will now be relocated. After inspections from the relevant authorities, the first phase of relocation will begin later this year.
This is the current site for the Singatoka Methodist College. School officials say it will be relocated soon. It's been revealed that relocation has come about as a result of some OHS issues.
In any time of emergency, if we had to evacuate the 1,400 students through one gate, we can call it as a death trap. While we have been having meeting with the safety officers, fire officers, the Ministry of Education and the town and town council, they have suggested that if we can relocate the school.
The relocation of the high school will also mean more room for the primary school, which currently has a student roll of close to 1,000 students.
This premises is totally for the primary school, easier to handle 600 to 800 students, and also we will have a playing facility. We do not have any ground now because of the buildings that have been built on the playing field. Our school does not have opportunities to go and have physical education because we don't have a ground. Each time we have to hire the sports stadium at Singatoka, and it's costing a lot of money and time. So that will all solve the problem.
Work on the new Singatoka Methodist College will start this year, and it is expected to be completed next year.
When we move the high school, the Singatoka Methodist College, on that 11 acres that we have in Kulukulu, we'll have staff quarters, we have agriculture science, and we'll have a full standard ground, playing field. So that is our plan now, and we hope that with working with the government and the education department donor agencies, by the end of this year, we'll have some buildings already up at Kulukulu, and come 2015, the high school will be moving that end.
Close to 700 students are enrolled at the Singatoka Methodist College. Drevukelangi, Fiji One News.
The Land Transport Authority says despite the fire that razed its Lambasa branch, services will continue as normal. Its inspection unit was burnt down at the weekend. LTA CEO Naisa Tunadewa says that a temporary set-up shed will cater for inspection services. Other services will be provided at their office in town. Tunadewa said they will also use the Ministry of Works depot, which is a few meters away from this building. He says they expect minimal disruptions to services, and they should normalize by the end of the week. Close to 68,000 tourists visited our shores last year. Provisional visitor arrival figures released by the Bureau of Statistics showed that 67,836 tourists visited last year. However, there were notable reductions in tourists from specific countries. China recorded the highest reduction of 40%, followed by Japan and other Pacific Island countries. However, tourist arrivals from the United Kingdom and New Zealand increased. In total, more than 360,000 tourist arrivals were recorded last year. This was a slight increase of 1.3% compared to 2012. The Coral Coast's outrigger on the lagoon has teamed up with the charity group Fiji Kids Learning for Life. The organization provides financial assistance to help the neediest children attend school along the Coral Coast and beyond. This year, some 65 lucky students have been enrolled for special sponsorship. There are currently 8 local schools that participate in the Fiji Kids Learning for Life initiative. Resort General Manager Peter Hopgood says what better way than to give back to education this way. Hopgood says they decided to take this on as their first community project for the year, supporting students from as young as preschool right up to university level. We have the latest from around the region up next. Stay with us. Thousands are homeless in Tonga as the cleanup begins in the wake of Tropical Cyclone Ian. The death toll remains the same, but authorities are beginning to get a clearer picture of the destruction caused. This report from TVNZ.
In Hapai, it's easy to trace Cyclone Ian's exact path. Just pick your way through the felled palms, the piles of ripped up roofing and clumps of debris.
It was so strong that all their hair's gone, and it actually left cars and moved buses and stuff. It is that strong.
A New Zealand Air Force Orion with Tongan officials on board helped survey the scene in a 3-hour flyover, mapping the damage. This photo shows the local hospital, one wing minus its roof.
A lot of the structures are very small and lightly built, and in some places sort of 80 or even 90% of them were heavily damaged or destroyed. So roofing iron everywhere and smaller pieces.
One person's confirmed dead. The hospital's still treating cuts and nail puncture wounds caused mainly by flying debris and stacks of rubbish.
The roof sheets were just rolling up like a piece of paper, and hairs was just flowing everywhere. It was just so dangerous.
Some cell phone coverage has been restored. 95% of power is still out.
It was sad for us to see the storm and the cyclone, but it's a good thing for me to be with the family. Because I know it will be hard now for family outside of Tonga to contact their family, Napai.
Commercial flights to the Haupai Islands have started again, and the roads are passable, meaning supplies can be delivered to the villages, including water and tarpaulins for shelter.
I don't think that they really realise the extent yet of the damage. The crops are wiped out. People are sharing whatever they have.
But at this stage, the Tongan government still insists it doesn't need foreign help.
Bushfires in Western Australia have destroyed dozens of homes. Authorities say 44 houses in Perth Hills have burned. The fire started in Parkerville on Sunday morning. Since then, the fire has been fueled by soaring temperatures and fanned by strong winds. Now remember, you can view tonight's Fiji One News Bulletin on our website. That's at www.fijione.tv. And you can also watch previous news bulletins as well as our current affairs, business and sports shows. We go to sports now with Myron, and Pio Tuai finally turns up to camp.
That's right, Vili. He made it and just in time for the team naming on Thursday. That's coming up. Also in sports, Athletics Fiji life member called for unity. And Top Guns through to Australia Open Round 2.